and also a Taiwan representative at the ACAP Executive Committee. ACAP stands for Asian Consortium of Active Aging in Asian Pacific. And due to the geological proximity, ACAP organizes group members from all nations in the Asian Pacific region, and we can visit, learn from each other, participate in each other's activities, and organizing events related to active aging in the region. ACAP was founded in 2004 by Dr. Takio Ogawa. Dr. Ogawa is a professor emeritus at Kyushu and Yamaguchi universities. And he is also very active in ACAP and in the Asian Pacific region. And the current president of ACAP is Catherine Brown, who is a professor of public health and social work, chair of the PhD in public health program. We welcome all of the participants in today's webinar to join ACAP, and this is a great family in the Asian Pacific region, and we hope to contribute to the promotion of active aging in the future among the regional nations who all experience a speedy population aging. Thank you very much for all the participants today in organizing this symposium, and I hope you all enjoyed today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yang. Now we'd like to invite each one of the participants. Can you turn on your video so that I can take a picture of the participants of this webinar? So please, everyone, turn on your video. Especially those who is going to present. Okay, so let me take a picture. Okay, smile. Okay, thank you very much. So now we begin to our first presentation. The first presentation is from Lin Hao Yang and me on a preliminary survey of Taiwan citizens on sense of community and altruive behaviors. Lin Hao Yang is an attending physician at the National Taiwan University Hospital, and he is also a doctoral student at our institute. So let's welcome Dr. Lin to present the result. Dr. Lin, please.
Thank you, Professor Chen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening of my fellow attendees from all around the world. I'm Hao Yang Lin from National Taiwan University, College of Public Health, and I'm honored to share with you the preliminary survey of Taipei citizens on sense of community and altruistic behavior. The supervisor of this study is Professor Duanrong Chen. This study is sponsored by National Science and Technology Council. The concept of sense of community was proposed in 1986 by Macmillan and Chavez. 4 constructs depict the main aspect of one's feeling of belonging and connection to neighborhood members, which includes membership, the feeling of belonging and being part of the neighborhood, influence, the belief that members can influence the neighborhood and vice versa, reinforcement of needs, the belief that members' needs will be met by the resources in the neighborhood. And finally, shared emotion connection. A strong sense of community fosters cohesion, participation, and a shared identity. Sense of community is associated with increased altruistic and prosocial behavior. Empirical studies demonstrate that individuals with stronger sense of community are more likely to engage in volunteerism, altruistic acts, and community participation. With mediating effect from construct such as a sense of responsibility, community identity, and perceived control, sense of community fosters prospective tendencies. In short, sense of community facilitates prosocial actions, including low-risk helping behavior, such as helping dementia patients, and also in high-risk action, such as CPR in emergency situations. So we conducted an online survey using a validated measure of sense of community index 2, which includes 24 items in a 4-point Likert scale questionnaire. We also used different AI-generated vignettes for the intention of high and low-risk altruistic behavior in different gender diet. Finally, we use a self-developed norm activation model questions for bystander CPR. So the study is conducted in Taipei City, and Taipei City has a population of approximately 2.5 million people, making it one of the world's most densely populated urban areas. The questionnaire focused on citizens in 12 districts of Taipei City and was conducted through 2-panel database in September 2024. In a 3-week period, we collected responses through 2 panels, the Center of Survey Research of Academia Sinica and the Web Survey NTU Qualtrics. After excluding the invalid and duplicated responses, a total of 6,173 valid responses was used for an analysis. Okay, we'll move on to the results. The mean and median of SCI2 score is 58.89 and 59, with a full score of 96 and minimum score of 24. The average age of the responder is 42.3 years old, and about half of them are female. We found that there are significant differences in SCI2 score throughout 12 districts in Taipei City. And in our preliminary exploration, higher SCI2 score is not correlated to higher household income. As for the correlation of SCI2 score and the helping behavior, the correlation of SCI2 score with the altruistic behavior is weak. And when we look at the high risk and low risk altruistic behavior, the correlation is also weak. That being said, after adjusting responders' gender and age, SCI2 score is associated with higher intention and both high risk and low risk altruistic behaviors. When we look at the gender differences in SCI2 score, in our investigation, male responders in Taipei City have significantly higher score of SCI2 questionnaire than female responders. The results are the same in all constructs except for the reinforcement of needs. In Interestingly, willingness of low-risk and high-risk altruistic behavior are discordant between gender. Female are more willing to engage in low-risk helping behavior, such as helping dementia patient, whereas male are prone to high-risk prosocial behavior, such as CPR. Finally, we take a quick look in the norm activation model for bystander CPR. When we look into the high-risk behavior, such as bystander CPR, male responders show more confidence and a sense of obligation to do so, while female showed less concern of legal issue, such as unclothing the victims or touching their chest. So there must be some reason why people didn't do the high risk for social behavior. In conclusion of our SWIT report, higher sense of community is associated with higher intention of altruistic behavior, regardless of the risk. Secondly, different gender are prone to different types of altruistic behavior. Further investigation on the underlying causes of individual and contextual effects are warranted. And that'll be all of our presentation. Thank you all for your kind attention. We are open to question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lin. You can leave your questions in the chat room. We will have the Q&A section in around 10:20. So let's move to presentation 2. That's from Professor He Su Yi. She's going to present a very interesting topic. Community participation and aging perceptions, insights from neighborhood meals and lifelong learning programs. Professor He is the Distinguished Chair in Health Science at the University of Central Florida. So let's have her. Please, Professor He.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Sui Ho. I'm a professor at the School of Global Health Management Informatics at University of Central Florida. That's in Orlando, Florida, in the U.S. I'm also currently distinguished chair in Fulbright Distinguished Chair in Health Science and working with University of East Finland, that's in Finland, on a worldwide finger clinical trial network project, focusing on dementia prevention using multimodal lifestyle interventions. So today, I'm pleased to share my study on community participation and aging perceptions, looking at the insights from neighborhood lunch and lifelong learning programs. There are 2 learning objectives of this study. First, to compare the demographics and social perceptions of older adults in neighborhood lunch versus lifelong learning programs, and also to discuss how community engagement programs may shape societal perception of aging and identify areas for future research. So just some background information, societal views are shaped by cultural, media, and our daily interactions. And unfortunately, many of these influences reinforce stereotypes. Research has found out that negative perceptions contribute to ageism and restrict opportunities for older adults in their work, healthcare, and also community participation. So understanding societal views towards aging is crucial for promoting inclusive communities. The community programs strongly shaped the aging experience. So, for example, engagement through meal sites and educational programs enhance both the social integration and also well-being. Lifelong learning programs promotes our cognitive vitality and also our civic identity. But they unfortunately mainly reach higher socioeconomic status groups. The neighborhood lunch program, on the other hand, they tend to attract more diverse populations and also provide accessible and long-term supports. Both are valuable, but they impact participants differently. And despite this knowledge, field research has directly compared community program participants' perception of aging and societal inclusion. And also we know very little about racial, educational, socioeconomic differences in community level aging experiences. And this gap leaves us with an incomplete picture of how programs shape older adults' sense of inclusion. So the purpose of this study is try to see how participation in two different community programs, the neighborhood lunch and the lifelong learning, influence older adults' perception of aging, and in hoping try to provide some new insights on how program type and demographic shape the perceived support and inclusion. So we surveyed about 200 older adults from the same county in Florida. About 50% of the participants were from the lifelong learning program. The other were from the lunch program. And these were the measures that we particularly interested in looking at the situation of older people in the society. So the older adults were asked in a 5-point Likert scale, what do they think most older people in the society, are they sufficiently provided for financially, specifically by their company's pension or their personal retirement accounts or government support like Social Security? Or are they sufficiently provided by healthcare system? And in the case of the need for caregiving, and also can they choose and design their life environment based upon their own ideas? Are they sufficiently integrated into their families? Have opportunities to participate in social life, enjoy the respect and reputation based on their age, are positively presented in the media, or can influence political decisions. So after removing 2 weaker items, the overall 12-item scales showed strong internal consistency with Cronbach alpha of 0.883. So the results shows that both groups were long-time residents in their current communities, they have lived in their current community for about 20 years. The neighborhood lunch program members tend to have longer membership with the lunch program, about 8 years, compared to 3 years for the lifelong learning programs. And both programs had higher female participation, about 78%, which is not surprising. Women tend to be more active in community-based program. And we see clear demographic differences between these two groups. The lifelong learners tend to be younger, like right after retirement, 65 to 74 in the young old age. The neighborhood lunch program tend to be older, 75 to 84 in the old age. And the lifelong learning tend to be more wide and college education. But again, both groups had long community residence. In terms of marital status, the lifelong learning participants, majority are still married, and the lunch program, only a quarter of them are still married, and also potentially because they were older. And the lifelong learning majority has college education, whereas the lunch program only has 30%. Majority of the lifelong learning were white, and the majority of the lunch program participants were very diverse racial minority. In terms of the overall societal view, the 12-item scales it was very interesting. The lunch program participant actually scored higher on societal views towards older people, where we tend to think the other way around because this is tend to be an older participant and more racially diverse participant. So specifically, they score higher or more positive view of they felt like the most older people in the society were financially sufficient and with good pension. They were more satisfied with the healthcare and caregiving support and family integration and societal respect as they age. And potentially because they were more racial minority and may have, a more family view. And the lifelong learning participants, these are more highly educated. They have a higher sense of political influences. It's also very interesting to know there were no differences between the two groups in terms of their perception on the personal financial provision. So that's their personal retirement account and their social participation opportunities or the media portrait. So the finding suggests that the neighborhood lunch program may foster more positive views by potentially offer the long-term membership and the support socially and also the practical support that may help contribute this. In contrast, the lifelong learners, despite they have higher socioeconomic status, they report feeling less societal support. So this shows that the program context and not just the demographics may shape how aging is experienced. Some research implication, future research could further explore how program engagement shape aging perceptions and also examine the role of racial, educational, and social economic influences, and maybe explore what's the particular elements that may impact, that was successful for the lunch program that may have the positive impact, and also address the unmet needs for the lifelong learning participants. On the policy side, this study supported inclusive programs for diverse older adults and encouraged expanding fundings for the neighborhood lunch program like community models. And overall, broadly, we should promote age-friendly initiatives that reflect diverse aging experiences across demographics. In conclusion, the program type and demographics shape the societal view of aging. The neighborhood lunch program fosters more inclusive, supportive perceptions. The lifelong learning participants highlighted the unique needs despite they have higher socioeconomic status. And the study insights help guide the equity-focused and age-friendly policies to promote inclusiveness of the society. These are the references, and I'm open for any questions or comments.
Thank you, Professor Ho. I think the results very interesting. Program can affect people's perception of aging. Give us a lot of hope for doing the intervention study. Okay, so let's move to the third presentation from Professor Wen Zhaihong. Professor Wen is going to present on a community-engaged platform for mapping dementia-friendly care service. Professor Wen is a professor in the Department of Geography. He's currently the director of the Center for Population and Gender Study at the NTU. So let's welcome Professor Wen to present.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it's my slides. Can everyone can see my slides now?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. Thank you. Hello everyone from the world. I'm very happy to have an opportunity to present my preliminary study in this symposium. The title today I'd like to share is the community engaged platform for mapping dementia-friendly care services. My name is Wen Zaihong from National Taiwan University, and my academic expertise is using GIS spatial analysis in public health issues. Currently, I'm also a director at the Center for Population and Gender Studies. In these slides, in these studies, I like to present the ideas and our prototype. We're building a systems, we're building a platform, but we try to integrate the demand and the supply about the dementia, and we try to build up a active aging community and the care services, the mapping system. Okay, so based on a lot of studies, try to ask what is the dementia-friendly community? What component should have in dementia-friendly community? So based on the literature and based on some questionnaire, here is my list, organized list about what we need if we want to build up a dementia-friendly community. It includes we need to community institutions. Of course, we need to service centers, welfare programs, long-term care, something. Yeah. And the second, based on a daily life, health daily life, we also need to have a lot of shops for maintain the daily life. For example, supermarket, restaurant, banks, or something to support the people who need for their daily life. And of course, we need to have medical institutions, including the hospital, clinics, and pharmacies, something to ensure the proper care. And of course, we need to some care institutions such as daycare centers, caregiving facility to supporting some people who need care. And importantly, we need to link demand and supply. So we need to have a healthy, efficiency transportation, including the buses, MRTs, and shuttle, something to enable safe travel, safe movement. So if we want to evaluate a community, whether it's a dementia-friendly or whether it's a active aging community, we need to have built up the system can evaluate which component have based on these criteria. Based on the ideas, we try to build up a community engaged platform to evaluate where these resources are located and to evaluate the capacity of available services. So we build up systems like this here. And this is the website. So if audience have interest, you can use this web link to look at the website like this. I will show you now. Here is the website here. So you can see we build up a system like this. And we will do a very briefing introduction about the system. Okay, so the first one, we need to incorporate all the facilities we need, including the healthcare services here. And we need to collecting the community-based the services and institutions for professional care services. So the first one, we incorporate here, you can see here, we incorporate all kinds of the care services in the list. So the users can check the layer. For example, we can check the healthcare services. So the audience can see the distributions of the home care services, something like that. Okay, so the first one, we need to have the long-term care facilities And then importantly, in order we need to provide the proper daily life and transportation. So we need also to integrate infrastructures such as the hospitals, pharmacies, supermarket, MRT, buses, something information like this. And of course, we need to know where is the need, where is the people who have need. So we need to integrate the demographics, such as the different kind of demographic statistics and the income information. We want to show the spatial distribution of the social economic status. And of course, we need to integrate the land use information to look at the residential, the commercial areas, their distributions. Okay, so if we integrate the information together, we will see the information like this. We can see the home surface distribution and we overlap the demographics. So we can see where is the people who have the need and where is the facilities can provide the services. So here we can combine demand and supply. We use some analysis functions to look at the accessibility to home care service. So we provide many different kind of functions to look at the accessibility to home care service. For example, we can click one point here and we can check out how many facilities if the centers stand for the people who have need, and we can evaluate how many home care services we have around them. And of course, we can integrate the road information so we can calculate the boundaries, the areas based on the travel time. For example, we can calculate maybe 10 minutes travel time or 5 minutes travel time. We can set up different kind of the time, the travel time, and we can check the areas around the facilities around the people who have need. And the next, we can provide the route analysis. So we can design the service route for home care service, because the more home service, the home care services now, so the users can click the different kind of the demand here. So the systems will plan a service route here. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, they can based on the location we need to plan the route for the home care workers. So this is slides we can consider all the intermediate stuff here, and the system will provide some statistics, how many the length and how many minutes for you want to moving from one places to the other places. Here we can based on the sequence of intermediate steps. For example, today I need to provide five home service now, so the system will help me to design the service route based on the sequence of intermediate steps here. Again, the system will plan the route, and they can provide information, including the length we need and the time we need to spend in movement. Okay, so here is my conclusion here. So based on the mapping platform, the purpose is we want to visualize. The first thing we want to visualize the distribution of service, supply and demand resources. We want to integrate a very kind of the services and the demographics, so we can look at the people who have need and the facilities who can provide the care services. And after we look at the demand and supply, and we can identify the services gap, while the engaging people with care needs to more easily access specific services. We can provide many analysis, just I presented, to identify where is the people who have no appropriate access for some specific services. And then the last thing, the system can facilitate the integrate of resources across different populations and institutions. So based on the platform, we try to build up the system. We can evaluate the dementia-friendly community And also, we can look at the demand and supply and to identify the resource gap for the policy reference to build up a better community we expect. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Wen. I have to say this is a good job done. I think what you have built up the system can help us to do research on community resilience for dementia patient or for CPR. Okay, so now we move to our very young assistant professor, Yu Xiaowei. She's going to present developing an assessment scale for inclusive dementia-friendly community indicators in Taiwan. And now she's an assistant professor at the Institution of Health Policy and Management. So let's welcome Professor Yu. Yu, please.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Chen. And I'm very happy to share my current research. I'm Yu Xiaowei from National Taiwan University, and my expertise lies in long-term care policy and management. My topic today is developing an assessment scale of inclusive dementia-friendly community indicators in Taiwan. Please allow me to read in Chinese again to make everyone knows the meaning of the Chinese, because it is very special in Taiwan. If we talk about long-term care policy, we have a lot of special terms in Taiwan. So I will speak mainly in English, but if I encounter some special terms, I will interpret in Chinese. Okay. Dementia is a growing challenge worldwide, affecting 5% of global older population. In Taiwan, in 2014, it was estimated almost 8% of older adults. Therefore, in 2017, the Ministry of Health and Welfare introduced the Dementia Prevention and Care Policy Framework and Action Plan Version 2, 失智症防治照护政策纲领暨行动方案 2.0 to push strong focus on community care services for people with dementia and their caregivers. But despite this policy initiative, we and local surveyed on dementia communities questionnaire. There is no clear centralized assessment tool to estimate how dementia-friendly our communities are, aligned with global framework. Fortunately, WHO has proposed the framework of inclusive dementia-friendly communities, 兼容性失智友善社区, to reduce stigma and make sure people with dementia and their caregivers to feel included in their community and everyday life. The framework of WHO DFC included 4 key components. They are participation, collaboration, leadership, and sustainability. Here is our study question and study aim. Our study is to develop a standardized tool to estimate how dementia-friendly our community are, and based on the WHO framework. The below of the On point is our process of how we build our tool. We start with developing questionnaire items and followed by Delphi method, and then went to reliability and validity test. Here is the method and the preliminary result shown on the slide. We invited 2 experts in dementia care to draft an initial pool of 25 items questionnaire based on WHO framework, and then invited 22 Delphi experts to do the expert validity, including scholars in long-term care, neighborhood leaders. In terms of Chinese, is Li Zhang, and it is very special in our study because I think the questionnaire is targeting to dementia people and their families. So I include individual with dementia to be the Delphi expert in the study. After 2 rounds of content validity assessment, we finally gathered 22 items in total. The dementia-friendly community assessment scale 失智友善社区评估量表。Oh, sorry. There's some problem to share my screen. Okay. Okay.
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay, thank you. And then we went to reliability test. 31 adults with mild dementia from neighborhood dementia care sites 失智据点 complete the questionnaire twice in 2 weeks. It tests retest reliability, and we got an acceptable result. And now we are going to recruit people with dementia, similarly mild dementia to complete the validity test. Aims for up to 200 participants, and then to run the EFA and CFA in terms of construct validity test. Okay, here is our preliminary our questionnaire here. This questionnaire original developed in Chinese. Here are sample items shown in English. In the first domain, participation. Community members treat people with dementia and their families with kindness and are willing to provide help and support. In the second domain, collaboration. Dementia-friendly transportation options are available in the community, enabling people with dementia and their family to travel with confidence. In the third domain, leadership. Community or government units invite people with dementia, their families, and community partners to meet to discuss ways to improve the community and ensure that plans are implemented. And the last domain, sustainability. The community ensure the long-term maintenance and improvement of dementia-friendly facility to remain supportive for people with dementia and their families. We developed the scale in total of 22 question items. To wrap up the finding, we create the Chinese version of dementia-friendly community assessment scaled, 22 items in totals. This tool provide a structured approach to evaluate the inclusiveness of community environment for people with dementia and their caregivers. Thank you, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Professor Yu. This is also a job well done. Thank you for your presentation. And also, let me remind all of those presenters, there are questions in the chat room. So if you can take a look at the chat room to see if you can do some replies if you are not available at the discussion section. Okay, thank you very much. So let's move to the Honorable Professor Haro Tan Yi-ji. Professor Tan is a prior director of the Center for Weather and Climate Disaster Research at NTU, and we are honored to have him to give a presentation. Please, Professor Tan.
Yeah, can you see my PPT?
You haven't shared your PPT. We can see you, your face.
Oh, I don't have the share, right?
You haven't shared.
Okay, I don't know. Let me try. I need the share. Eh?
There's 那边有一个共用，
有看到？
你点那个共用。
有，我点了，但是没办法动啊。
No.
I have the share here, but I.
Let's
Let me use this one. Yeah, can you see the PPT? This
not
one?
yet.
This one?
No.
No, you didn't see this one? How come? I don't have the image here. Okay.
Let me share your presentation for you. And
Okay.
And you can talk about, whether I need to move to the second or,
Yeah.
Tell me what to do when I share your slide. Okay? So let me share your slide.
Okay. I can speak that one.
So everyone see the slide?
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay, can I stop right now?
Okay, you can start right now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Haro Ichi-ten. I come from the NTU. But my topic is the university capacity building to help new Taipei City government to set up resilient community. Next. Okay, that's my CV. Okay, just for your reference. Thank you. Next one. Okay, according to the UK, the Cambridge risk study, world city risk 2015 to 2025. They have next please. Okay, you can see the number one is Taipei. Okay, and the GDP loss, the risk is 202 billion US dollar. Tokyo is number 2. Seoul is number 3. Okay, next one. Okay, what is corporation, university, and the local government? Okay, because the local government is in concerning more for damage brought by the disaster in Taiwan, but the capacity, manpower of the local government is not enough to implement for disaster prevention in the community level without the help from the outside resource. And now university in Taiwan have the capability to deliver non-structural measures and help the local government to develop the community resilience. Next one. Okay, this is the goal of the resilient community. What kind of disaster? Where is the location? What is the impact? How to reduce the disaster occurrence and enhance responsibility capacity, okay? And then we organize the response team. I think very important is the rising public awareness, Okay, that's through the education and the knowledge instruction. Next. Okay, the first one is establish flooding disaster resilient community. Next. Okay, in our company, in our opinion, okay, we think the most the help from yourself first, and mutual aid from your neighborhood only 20%. Yourself is 17%, but if you want the park rescue only 10%. That is the 7 to 2 and to 1. So don't expect from the public rescue from the government. So you must help yourself first. Next. Okay, this is the process, the resilient community. The first one, we're choosing the community in and the initiation, and then we go to there and the survey and what kind of strategy for developing. Maybe we can give some idea what kind of disaster you have in your neighborhood, and then we through the education and the drill and of the disaster prevention. Next one, it may be the operation. Next. Okay, that's in Taiwan. In whole community, we have 572. Okay, that is this kind of community. But the way through the 28 typhoon, okay, we think that we can evacuate over the 800 people and did not cause any casualty. Next one. Next, please. Okay. Okay, this one. This is we're going the step one. We go to the preliminary study of the community. You can see the old person. This is the key person. Maybe the leader of the village. Okay, but he can understand what they have, the resource what they have, and then we identify where this has happened and where the people could hide when the disaster had to happen. For this one, usually it's a temple or maybe the community center. Okay, next one. Okay, this next one is the initiation, and for this one, you can know we have the typhoon and the Morocco tragedy, the landslide in the Shaolin village in Taiwan, and killed almost 700 people. And I think everyone know the 311 earthquake in Japan. Okay, next one. Okay, the first one, we go to there, and when introduction and the local government and disaster potential. For this one, we can find that they have the depressed floor here, with the flooding area here. It's very small, but it's only one small average. You can see the map on the top. It's a very small one, just one village. Okay, next one. Okay, we go to there, and the first one, in order to understand, we tell them what kind of depressed floor you have, and we can find the site survey and find where's the shelter. Usually it's a temple, okay, or the activity center. Okay, for flooding area, you can see the old woman use the umbrella, point out the location is the depths of the inundation is the flooding area is high, maybe 10 centimeter. Okay, next one. Okay, but after site survey, we have the strategy development. So this is the doctor of our center, and now we're sorting the photo. You know, that's very not so easy. Maybe the old in the community they cannot read, but how can I use the Google Map? But we use the idea is you can find where is your location, where is your home, where is the road, and you can mapping from there, and then we make the strategy. Okay, what you should do yourself, what you expect from the government, what expect from your neighborhood, and then we can use experience sharing with them. Okay, next one. Okay, education and training is very important. Okay, you can see the color this firefighter. Okay, they have wanted the demonstration and demonstration, and how to use the fire extinguisher. Okay, and they teach them how to self operation, and we have our lecture for the depressed flow, what depressed we have here, and how to overcome this kind of problem. Next one. Okay, this is very important step is education and training. We organize the team. Okay, we have one commander and deputy commander and the executive secretary. We divide for different logic, patrol, evacuation, preparedness, and logistics. And this one, maybe you cannot see here, is the caring. Okay, next one. Next. Okay, this as the map. No. Up. Okay, this is the map. This kind of map. We have the map. Use the evacuation, the direction. Where is they can go? Where is the location? What is the telephone number? And we can use this kind of map. But this kind is not so easy. You can say this is depressed flow. Okay, but we use this map to teach them how to evacuate yourself, how to protect yourself. Okay, next one. The next one is very important, the drill. Okay, the drill of the disaster prevention. So we have the patrol, the caring, and the evacuation, and the refugee. Okay, so it's a lot of old process. Okay, next one. Okay, after all the thing, we have the achievement presentation. So we give this one all the presentation and give this value they can understand in the future. Okay, next one. Next. Okay, that's I think my times are up. Can I go to the conclusion? Okay. It's too much for here. Okay.
Conclusion, right?
The last one. Okay.
Okay.
This
Sorry.
one.
Okay.
Okay. Conclusion. Because all the resources in the central government, but the community is the base. Okay. So from the central government, the local government, district, and the community. So the local government could have strengthened the connection district and the community. So the bottom up is the community, but it's basic, but it's very most important. Okay, but all the resources from the central government. So we want to share the central government to the older community, so we can find out use this kind of non-structural method into the practice. Okay, I think that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tan. I found out there's a lot of in common from your presentation to our course. We have a course like community health promotion. There are a lot of common ground for us to communicate in the future. Okay, thank you very much. So let's move to the Professor Yang Xiaoyou. Professor Yang Xiaoyou will present the developing climate resilient indicator to assess heat-related health risk in Taiwan. And Professor Yang is from our college, College of Public Health, Institute of Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences. And he is also a project leader in the Health Research Center at the College of Public Health. So let's welcome Professor Yang. Professor Yang.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Professor Chen's kind introduction. And this presentation is part of our ongoing research about the climate change's impact on community resilience. So we are trying to establish a new score to measure the climate resilience among our Taiwanese person to cope with the heat-related health risk in Taiwan. As global warming intensifies, the health risks from heat are receiving growing attention. But according to the IPCC projection, extreme heat could threaten the health of almost 50 to 75% of the world's population by the end of this century. So the strengthening resilience to heat hazard has therefore become a pressing concern. In the IPCC AR6 report, resilience is defined as the capacity of social, economic, and economic system to cope with hazards, maintain essential function, and retain the ability to adapt, learn, and transform. However, a standardized method for measuring heat resilience has not been established yet. In the IPCC AR6 report, it quantified the climate-related health risk as an interaction term of hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. And as the resilience is the ability to counter climate change-related health risk, in China, Professor Zhang and his colleagues assessed the protected capacity by using resistance, adaptation, and response as indicators of heat resilience and received global attention. In Zhang's model, adaptation is the capacity of an urban landscape to buffer and mitigate heat, and the resistance is the ability of built and social environment to withstand heat stress. And response is the accessibility and adequacy of healthcare resource for vulnerable population. And this framework provides the first quantitative method to assess heat resilience. But a key research gap is the lack of direct measurement of individual adaptive behavior for heat stress. Therefore, our study aimed to establish the Taiwan's first heat resilience index. We try to calculate and include the assessment of individual adaptive behavior for heat stress to improve the index ability to predict heat injury. Therefore, we extend the adaptation resistance response framework proposed by Dr. Zhang and his colleagues. We build on, based on the IPCC's approach, we consider vulnerability as a critical domain. So we include the proportion of elderly population, young people, and low-income population, and indigenous group as indicator of vulnerability. We also measure individual heat adaptation behavior through a national questionnaire survey, which help us to reflect the risk characteristic in different counties. For resistance, we use indicators such as public health preparedness, like the availability of medical institutions, health professionals, and volunteers, together with environmental features such as green space and building density and social economic factors like household income, education, and air conditioning use. By integrating these domains, we construct a Taiwan-specific heat resilience index that captures both individual and structural capacity to cope with heat hazard. To validate our Taiwan Heat Resilience Index, we use a structural equation model to test how adaptation, resilience, and vulnerability are related, and whether the combined index can predict the risk of heat injury in Taiwan. We conduct a cross-sectional survey in 2003 across 19 cities and counties in Taiwan. The vulnerability and resilience indicator were obtained from a governmental statistic report. And to assess individual adaptation behavior to heat stress, we carry out a nationwide online questionnaire survey among adults aged 18 to 65. Data on heat injury were retrieved from the Ministry of Health and Welfare's open data platform, which enable us to calculate incidence rate for each county and cities for the heat injury rate. And all indicators were first standardized into Z-score, and factor analysis was applied to derive their composite score for each domain. The heat resilience index was defined as the sum of the resistance score and the adaptation score minus the vulnerability score. To examine the association between resilience domains and heat injury, we apply partial least square structural equation modeling. Finally, we apply a geographically weighted regression to capture the spatial varying effect on environmental and vulnerability factor on heat injury incidence across 19 counties. Here is our preliminary result. Our structural equation model shows that the resistance and adaptation are positively associated with heat resilience, while the vulnerability index is negatively associated with heat injury rate. And higher heat resilience score is linked to a low risk of heat injury. This figure shows that the cities with higher heat resilience index, such as Taipei, Taoyuan, and Hsinchu, have a low incidence rate of heat injury. And in contrast, eastern region, like Hualien and Taitung, exhibit both lower heat resilience index and also higher incidence of heat injury. And the geographically weighted regression indicate that higher employment and greater household consumption serve as a protective factors against heat injury in northern Taipei. In contrast, larger proportion of indigenous population and low-income population were significantly associated with elevated heat injury risk, especially in East and Central Mountain Taiwan. So for the policy suggestion, we recommended that in Southern and Eastern Taiwan, we found that the larger area of green space were linked to lower rate of heat injury. So expanding green space and shading facilities should be a priority here. And in northern Taipei, city and counties with lower household consumption expenditures show a higher heat injury incidence. That suggests we need to provide more heat-related resource and support for household or communities with fewer or lower socioeconomic status. In eastern and central Taiwan, higher proportion of indigenous and low-income population were associated with greater heat injury risk that highlight the importance of strengthened heat health protection and directing additional resources toward this high-risk population. This study has some limitation because the survey of adaptive behavior include only adults aged between 15 to 65 years, and we exclude that do not include children and the elderly. So the community's adaptive capacity might therefore be overestimated. Okay, this is the last slide. We sincerely thank the following individual and institution for their valuable contribution and support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Yang. It's a very wonderful, great presentation. So I was wondering, the unit of analysis here is the city, right? not individual.
It's city. The best unit is city.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a quick ask. So now let's move to the last presentation. The last presentation is from the Taiwan Resilient Research Center by Professor Wang. Professor Wang Daoyi is the director of the center. So the last presentation, the presenter is Lin Wei Yu, and she's going to present. The topic is sorry.
I'm sharing my.
Sorry, I forgot. The topic will be: Are we ready for an aging society?
Yes.
Preliminary result of indicators constructed from a resilient perspective. Okay, sorry. So let's welcome Dr. Student Lin to present the result on behalf of the member in the Taiwan Social Resilience Center. Okay, so please, Lin.
Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. So first, I want to share my appreciation of Professor Chen to invite us for sharing our ongoing research. And my name is Wei Yu, and today I'll be presenting our ongoing research on developing subjective social demographic resilience scale. And our research team is led by Professor Wang, who is also here with us online. And so let's begin with our research. Oh, sorry. So in the near future, every 1 in 6 people worldwide will be reached over the age of 60. And in fact, in Taiwan, we're projected to reach the Super Age Society this year. And in our study, our main argument is that the primarily issue here is actually the resource distribution issue, because the Super Age Society is bringing tremendous impact on the labor market, welfare system, as well as the care system. And once the resources are not well managed and distributed, it will invoke tremendous social risk. And so here we have two sides. On one side, the government should take actions and make policy adaptations on these issues. And on the other side, the public attitudes of the general public should be heard, and the two sides should be aligned and in order to reach a higher social demographic resilience. So this is our main logic of our study. And the question here is that, are we ready for the societal impact and change, and how to measure the readiness of this kind of population change? So the research gap in our research is that in the mainstream resilience studies, the context they're discussing is mainly disasters. But here, population aging is a national level. It's a long-term and internal shock. So, which is different from the traditional disaster context. And even though EU has developed their demographic resilience indicators, but it's a objective and static indicator that lacks consistency and validity test that prohibits us from the theoretically progress. And then in the same time, in the research community, the projective resilience approach has a rising awareness. So that's why we choose to develop our research in a subjective approach. And then in our theoretical framework, we adapt and have to adjust the items in our own context, but we generally adapt the CAT framework, namely the coping, adaptive, and transformative capacity to design our items and our skills. And then our skill development is primarily follow the best practice of Potain and the colleagues. And in the first phase of our development, we compiled the research in demography and sociology and related issues, and we have identified the super aging issue is primarily happening in the three aspects, namely the healthcare and elderly care dimension, and the employment and economic security, and lastly, the social inclusion dimension. So in our second phase of our study, we launched a national level survey and received over 1,000 responses. And in our last phase, we conducted psychometric modeling using the data, and then we split the data into 70 and 30%. And the majority of the data are used to develop EFA, and the rest of them are used to conduct CFA. So let's move on to the primarily results. In because of the space limit, I didn't list all the items here, but we can see two insights from this slides. The first one is that the values in all the columns refers to the factor loadings of each survey items, and they're presenting generally excellent or at least beyond acceptable. We have deleted some items that have lower factor loadings. And then the second insights from this result is that the structure of the factors are well identified. We can see that in each of the dimensions, for example, in the healthcare and elderly care dimension, we have identified 3 subscales from this dimension, etc. So in the CFA phase, after we explored the structure of the factors, we use the confirmatory factor analysis to confirm that the model fit is generally beyond excellent fit, as you can see from the indices. And regarding to the internal consistency, we can see the alpha values from all the subscales, and except for the one that marked with red, because this subscales only contains 2 items. So we are planning to add more items in our next wave of our survey, but generally the alpha level are beyond acceptable reliability. So let's look at the subscales in details, but here, due to the limit of space, we only demo some items that have higher factor loadings. And here we can see that in the care domain, the perceived responsibility and the perception of the care system and the support for the transformation of the care system are identified as 3 subscales. And interestingly, we want to share that we find that people who consider that the care responsibility lies more on individual and families are presented to have higher positive subjective demographic resilience. So, and then in the employment and economic security dimension, we identified 2 subscales relatively regarding retirement preparedness and then the workplace ageism. And this collaboration also aligns with the policy programs worldwide from the government. So it's very interpretable. So the last domain and subscale we have identified is ageism from social inclusion dimension. And this subscale, this is reverse coded, and we compiled some ageism scales items in this subscale. So lastly, we conduct validity check using some validity measures that we designed. And as example here, you can see we demo one of our validity measure here on the sides, and we designed some items that reflects the general attitudes of the citizens.
Sorry, Lynn, you only have 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, and as you can see in the metric, except for the 2 subscales that are reverse coded, the subscales are positively related to our validity measures. And our validity check is based on our test set identified in our data pool. So lastly, to conclude our research, and we hopefully we can contribute to the policy making and long-term demographic planning and evaluation. And most importantly, the development of psychometric scale allows us to progress on theory building, which is probably overlooked in existing research. So here concludes my presentation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Li. I'm sorry for interrupt you because the time limit. Okay, now thank you very much for all of the presenter. We have such very inspiring presentation, and we have learned a lot. So now we move to the final remarks. And final remarks will be hosted by Professor Winston Zheng and Professor Pei-San Yang, and they will host the general remark and also the Q&A discussions. So let's move to Professor Zheng. Would you like to give the remark first, and then move to Professor Yang, and then we will open to Q&A. So Professor Zheng, would you like to and also for the there's a Q questions in the chat room, so please.
Thank you.
Okay. So Professor Zheng, now you can give general remarks.
Thank you. What an exceptional, amazing set of presentations. Really took to heart being in the United States, thinking about global Asian crisis, and thinking about Taiwan as an experience in Taiwan. What amazing community protections, community factors of support and also I think about in the US, there's really a lot of good fragmentation or split between government services, the hospitals, and also home and community-based services. It's all broken. But I am hearing from these presentations how there are a lot of connections with government, universities, with communities, different sectors at different levels are working together in a strong way, much different from what is happening in the United States today. And I think I'm also hearing, community perhaps is the most important aspect to the issues that we're trying to address, thinking about resilience. And certainly, this hearing a lot of also important work where the university is part of the community. The researchers are working together with communities and government and translating research into action. And I think it's very inspired and thinking about, the issues of the past, thinking about, how do we reach vulnerable populations? Certainly older adults is an important group, but, there are many other groups, sometimes I feel the lessons we learn, from the most challenged groups can be helping everyone. For example, one of our projects with deaf and hard of hearing older adults, some of the communication to reach the deaf and hard of hearing during disaster preparedness, or just in general, in terms of improving health communication for everybody. We've been able to find successes or lessons learned from those who are most adversely affected. And I would also say that, looking to the future, as some presented about climate change, the future of heat risks, these are the challenges of our times. It's emerging and changing. Certainly, I look forward to really what's next for Taiwan, these experiences and perhaps lessons we can learn from the Taiwan experience on long-term care and also community resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zheng, for such wonderful remarks. So, Professor Yang, would you like to give a few words?
Sure. Thank you all the presenters for your great sharing. I think has been a highly informative symposium and ECAP webinar. I have noticed that many different principles have devoted a lot of efforts in research and practice in promoting an aging-friendly society. Besides individual factors such as gender, age, and socioeconomic status that in literature showed significant effect in the active aging experiences, communities, and more broadly, city and national policies have now become increasingly important in building the infrastructures and programs of resilience to maintain the quality of life for people of all ages, not just the elderly, in ordinary time as well as in disasters. However, I have one comment. Taiwan has been an ethnically more homogeneous society with mainly Han people and a minority of Aboriginal people. But in the past 2 decades and more, the foreign-born population has increased fast. In addition, there are now about 800,000 migrant workers working and living in Taiwan, many of them working in high-risk environments like construction sites and factories. So I'd like to suggest that research related to resilience should include more ethnically and linguistically diversified sample to increase the validity of our research. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Yang, for bringing up such an important issue. I was wondering, any of the presenter would like to comment or reply to the questions in the chat room? So any presenter want to share your thought or give some feedback to the general comments or questions in the chat room? Okay, so I think I do a good job in controlling the time, right? So now it's 10:41, and also apologize for Lin Wei Yu because I thought your slide has 24 slides, and now you
Most
only.
of them are appendix.
So
Thank you for
I
reminding me.
I confused that. Wow, it takes more than 5 minutes to finish the 24 slides. So I, make a liberty to interrupt your presentation. I apologize for that. Okay, so and people ask if we can share the presentation slides. So I would email each one of the presenter and to get their approval. If they are willing to share the presentation slide, I would make a link in our on the website of our institute, and to share the presentation slides. So I will give the link if although all the presenters are willing to share. I will give the link to those who have registered the webinar, because we have a list of the email of those people who register to the webinar. So that you can have the presentation slides. Okay, so that's cool. Anyone or presenter, any of the presenters want to give feedback to the question or to the remarks? Okay, so so now there's no one want to share the feedback. So now, okay, so there's one person. Can you sorry, Henny Yang, do you want to speak? please speak. Okay. No response. Okay. I thought Chen, let's have Chen first. Please, Chen.
I thought Xiaowei came first.
Oh, okay. Yamei
Okay,
Chen.
Chen, Yamei, okay. Okay,
I don't
thank you.
Yamei Chen. Okay, Yahweh.
Okay. Okay, Yamei is my supervisor of my PhD degree. So I ask the questions first because we encounter a very, very challenging issues. What is the definition of community among other adults? What do you think? Because we ask many frail people, a frail older adult, they don't understand what they ask us and my research assistant one question. What do you mean about community? Is like my the neighborhood or the 行政区 okay, or 我的社区大楼. So I just wondering, what is your definition of community? Thank you.
So, Professor Yu, whom do you want to address to the questions?
No. Everyone can talk
Everyone,
about this.
okay.
Yeah.
So, Professor Yang, would you like to give us some feedback on this issue? Because Department of Social Work deal with a lot of issue in community. So, in your Department of Social Work, how do you tell students what the community means when you do the community social work?
Communities can be defined in objective as well as subjective definitions. So in any possible group, for example, geographically defined or professionally defined or religiously defined, anything. So I think that creates a lot of possibilities for research, policies, and practice. So for social work students, after they graduate, they go into all kinds of different jobs. And then they can apply the training in community work into all kinds of jobs and professions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yang. From my experience, the people who in Taiwan, they think about a community, it look like a neighborhood. You see, in the presentation from Professor Tan, when they do the community disaster program, they're looking for community center or they're looking for temple. You know, people there, they do a workshop to ask the resident to describe what is the community in their imagination. So they sometimes just draw a neighborhood map and use that concept to represent the community. So sometimes we will say, imagine the area that you can walk like for 15 minutes. The area that you walk in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, those areas you will consider like your neighborhood, which you live there, and all those weather or people or shop or activity will affect your life. So if you cannot specify what is a community, we always say during the neighborhood that you walk for 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes, those areas you can consider as your neighborhood. And then you start asking questions about the neighborhood. And another way is to just the administrative unit, but people don't really understand what "the" means for them, except for the getting the present from 里长. But so normally it's like to describe the area that you live in and to represent the community. Okay, so because of time limit, we can move to the last question from Professor Yamin Chen.
Actually, it's linked to Xiaowei's question as well. I was just thinking, how can we go from Wei's presentation very much? And I just kept me thinking, what can we go from here? And Xiaowei's question just brought me a thought that this is probably how our policy intervention, future policy intervention, the unit of future policy intervention for increasing resilience in the future. But my question for everybody here is, now we have nicely defined, it's going to be a geographically defined area for our policy intervention. But what can we do? What can we go? Where can we go from here to future? And not just to where you have still done a very nicely job in reminding everybody that we are moving towards, we are already super aging society, and our portion of elder people are going to increase dramatically after today. So what can we do? How can we prepare ourselves for future? Any thoughts?
So anyone want to give feedback? I think today's presentation, 7 presentation, has covered different level of resilience. So like Wei Yu has create a resilience index that can be used for international comparison, right? Because I figured that the unit of analysis in your work that can be used like to generate national resilience index if next COVID-20 or 24 comes. So maybe it's interesting to compare how different countries cope with such infection disease. That's one way. But another presentation like Professor Tan and Professor Yang and Yao Xiaowei and Zai Hong, what we are doing here is to look at the community resilience to cope with disease like dementia, living in community, or something accident, people who have need have a CPR, or such work that need community intervention to help people who needs help. So if we can come up a quick and useful community resilience index and do surveillance survey every year, so probably it can be used as a precaution for government to see which area are most vulnerable for lack of sense of community, for lack of residents who are willing to help, or are most vulnerable for the heat. Not mention we have so many hot days during the past week. So if we can come up a reliable, useful, and government index, community resilience index, and government would adapt those index and collect data on a constant basis, either yearly, basis, and that could be useful information for the local government to capture, where are the vulnerable area, and the resource can be put into those vulnerable community or area first, to prevent further damage if the disaster comes. Okay, sorry, just thank you very much for those for all of the presenter and for the participants. I think everyone here all agree that we have learned a lot, and we definitely will move from here to continue to work on more study in terms of resilient index or resilient measure, or even to relate the resilient index to other variable which can which can provide evidence that to have a resilient index is very important for the government, local and central government, to gather information about the local situation. Okay, thank you very much. And then we will stop here and looking forward for future cooperation and the communication again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And wait a second, let me take a picture again for those who are willing to stay for such a long time. Okay. And also, okay. Wait a second. Please smile. And for those who haven't turned on your video, please turn on your video so they can see your face. Okay. And two more. Zhang Zejia, that's our student. Do you want to show your face? No? Okay. Okay, so let's smile. Okay, thank you again. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Daniel. Thank you, Professor Jen. Very nice meeting you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Duan Rong. Excellent job. Well done. Thank you. 辛苦了。